Now, Apple TV, you're going to grow up soon. You're going to become a big boy. I want you to remember that you're always going to be special to me in my heart. Your old nasty chip is just fine with me, okay? That's a good Apple TV. Hey everybody, how you doing? I am David Geisler. This is the Technophiles Newscast, and the world finally has a release date for the next Apple TV. So for starters, people couldn't help notice that at Apple's WWDC just a couple months ago, an Apple TV was not announced. A lot of people thought it was going to happen. I mean, we've been hearing about the next Apple TV since like 2012. And with the exception of a couple software updates here and there, we haven't had a new Apple TV in years. So the current Apple TV runs on a version of the A5 chip, which is essentially the chip that was in the iPhone 4S. And that chip has been okay for the Apple TV. It's just been chugging along for a couple years here. But it sounds like we finally know when the next one's coming out. There's a lot of reports out there confirming that the next Apple TV will actually be announced at Apple's iPhone event that's coming up in September, which they actually traditionally hold every year in September. So this September, we're expecting that the next iPhone will be announced. It'll probably be some version of an iPhone 6S based on Apple's naming history. And it looks like the Apple TV is actually going to be running the A8 chip, which is already in the iPhone 6. Some of the other reports out there are saying that it'll have a slimmer, sleeker design, and that's not too much of a surprise. A lot of people are happy to hear that actually it sounds like it's going to have Siri integrated into the operating system. This is going to become really important for HomeKit, which we actually found out that this next Apple TV will pretty much most definitely be a HomeKit hub. It sounds like it's also going to have its own original operating system, but what's kind of really cool is that it's going to have apparently a new remote. Wow, a new remote, big deal. Well, actually, remotes and Apple's philosophy on remotes go way back. Even Steve Jobs used to say that the fewer amount of buttons on a remote, the better. You know, the classic joke is that if you buy an Apple product, it'll have one button and you'll never know what it does. But in reality, Apple is almost obsessed with trying to make sure that there's the least amount of buttons on their control interfaces and that they make the most sense. So it sounds like this new remote is actually going to have touch interface. A lot of Apple products already have the touch interface. Obviously, all the iPads and the phones, their mice, the trackpads, all of it. Have you ever used the Apple TV remote app on your iPhone before? You actually do use touch-based controls to navigate through the menus with that app. I wonder if this new remote will kind of be a version of that. It sounds like this new remote is going to have Apple's Force Touch technology built into it, which of course showed up on the MacBook Pros a few months ago. I'm personally excited that Apple's designing a new multi-touch remote for the Apple TV because this is actually the first time that they've done so since the Apple TV came out in 2007. And last but not least, and though this is not official news yet, it's pretty much confirmed, and I am very excited about this, that the Apple remote will have fingerprint identification. I've been in plenty of situations where many people in a household want to use the Apple TV, and you know, everybody kind of wants to sign in on their own iCloud account so they can access their own music and access their own photos, and it almost gets ridiculous. You have to go and sign out, sign somebody else back in. It's silly. I'm hoping that the fingerprint identification can really help with you just pick up the remote, hold your thumb, and it knows who's using it, and it can auto-switch the users, I assume. Of course, obviously, the fingerprint sensor could be used for purchasing things on the iTunes Store and all of that. Instead of signing in and typing your password in every single time, you could just use your thumb. There actually is one final interesting little tidbit of information here. Some people have noticed that the new public beta that just got released for El Capitan. Now, El Capitan is Apple's next operating system, and that officially comes out next fall, but some people have noticed that buried down in the code is Bluetooth connectors for remotes for the Apple TV and things like that. This is all very cool. It's definitely confirming some of these ideas that people have, where Apple's planting the seeds to have an integrated home network where all your devices work with each other. So very exciting. There's no word yet on the pricing of this new Apple TV, but we can expect that it's going to be $100. Apple TVs are kind of famously, they've been $100 for years now. Interestingly enough, the Apple TVs are $60 right now because basically Apple's probably just trying to get rid of all the old models. So what do you think? Would you go out right now and buy yourself a $60 Apple TV, which will be old in a few months, or do you want to just hang out a little bit and pick up the new fancy one, which hopefully will actually just be the normal Apple TV price, like I said? I am thinking I would hold out and get the new one. I'm personally excited. Okay, the remote's cool, but on a personal note, I'm kind of excited to have Siri in my house, so to speak. I don't mind being in the living room and saying, Siri, schedule an event for blah, blah, blah. Hey Siri, schedule a whatever. Amazon TV, of course, already does this with their set-top box, and so some people are cool with the idea. Let me know, do you want to be able to talk to your TV, or you want to just use the touch remote, or would you be cool using the old-fashioned button remote? Let me know in the comments down below, or you can tweet it to us at TechnophilesPod. Of course, you can find us on Facebook and iTunes by searching Technophiles, or go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com, where you can find other episodes of this show, or check out our other two shows, Technophiles Podcast and Branching Dialogue. All right, guys, we'll see you on Wednesday. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to click like down below. If you want to check out some of our other videos, you can take a look at V over here. She's talking about something. What is she talking? Oh, Hitchpot. Look at that. Or also, I think she's over here doing Amazon Prime. You can always subscribe right there. Right here. We have a new thing on this show where we always try to touch the subscribe button, apparently. It's becoming a trend. You do it for us, alright?